I'm Lockwood Barr, and thanks for tuning in to Country Music Minute. Be sure to check out my new record, Signs Along the Road.
Hi, y'all. We're hanging out here on Country Music Minute, and joining us today is Lockwood Barr. She's an award-winning singer and banjo picker. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome. I love your name. It's so unique.
Thank you. It's a family name. Been passed down for many generations from my dad's side. So,
well, your mom and dad did very good when they named you.
I like it. I like it a lot. Although it's funny, when all my cousins I'm the only girl that's a Lockwood, and it's always guys, and they go by Woody. But sometimes I'll put up a status about my music, and then one of them will just be like, "Yeah, but it'd be cooler if it was me." And I was like, "Guys, stop smashing my career. I like being unique."
That's so funny. I get the same thing with Sam. My grandmother refuses to call me Sam, so I'm Samantha to her because Sam's a boy's name. You just celebrated a birthday.
I did. I'm 26. I am so old.
I was going to ask you how old you are. You're not old. Did you do anything special?
I did a bagel brunch with some of my girlfriends. So we just kind of hung out, and we had all been roommates down in Key West for the Songwriters Festival. So back in May, so we kind of had like a mini reunion of that, and just sat out on the patio and talked about songwriting and life, and just relaxed. It was great.
Sounds like a pretty awesome birthday, if you ask me. Yeah. So you're a California native. How has that had an influence on your music?
I think I was just exposed to so many different genres and so many different musicians who brought their own backgrounds. And so I think it caused me to be intellectual about songwriting at an early age, because without noticing, I was being exposed to everything from EDM to classic rock and like Fleetwood Mac and things like that. And then also, Broadway show tunes. And to me, that was just the norm. I just kind of was like, oh, well, this is music. Music is all sorts of things. And, my parents having the roots that they had, my mom grew up here in Nashville. Obviously, country and bluegrass were such a huge part of my upbringing as well. And so I think that's why I dove into it. But, what growing up in California allowed me to do was bring all of these influences from California into country music. And it's been a lot of fun.
Well, I'm so happy you said EDM. I'm a huge Duke Dumont fan.
Oh my gosh, so great. Yeah.
So I have to ask, what kind of music are you listening to other than your own? Like who are your
I'm sort of all over the board. I love the singer-songwriter scene in Nashville. So I have a ton of albums that are just people that have done stuff in their garage, and we'll go out to the writers' rounds, and I'll just become a fangirl and buy it. And that's one of my favorite things about being in Nashville. And then I'm diehard Sheryl Crow, so any and all things, and I go through different binges on different weeks. So like Tuesday Night Music Club is a pretty regular. I would say that's on every other week, and then some of her more recent stuff depending on the month. And then I have a good friend who's an EDM DJ in San Francisco, so I always follow his SoundCloud links and different postings and different jobs, and he's got a bunch of independent artists that he's helping promote, but then he also does remixes of some of the top 40 stuff. So I'm always stalking his wall and emailing him and seeing what I can find out. So, and honestly, I'm super pumped about Miranda Lambert's new double album coming out.
Huge fan.
So kind of everything. I mean, I think it's the same patterns as childhood. I love soaking up the country scene here in Nashville, and then I'm also constantly just perusing the worldwide interweb and seeing what else I can find.
So you're very diverse. And I read that you opened up for Wiz Khalifa. I was a huge fan of his song Black and Yellow. How cool was that?
It was kind of surreal because he also is just he encompasses so much of like being a celebrity. Like I didn't actually get to interact with him backstage, which I'm okay with because I'm sure I would have made a fool of myself, but he was that awesome sort of like he had a posse around him at all times, just sort of walking around backstage. And it was like he almost carried an energy like you just kind of have to stop and go, oh my God, that's Wiz Khalifa. Like it was almost like a metaphysical thing where he walks in and you don't even see him out of the corner of the eye. You just feel him in the backstage tent. And also he's just such a seasoned performer. I mean, he came out and Had I mean, that was a loud, rowdy college crowd, all drinking beer and everything. And the minute he came out on stage, he had everyone eating out of the palm of his hand. And I love watching artists like that in any genre because they're just masters of their craft. It's so energizing and so fascinating. And yeah, so that was definitely a game changer. And I was still in school at the time. So I was really just still getting the ropes of, jumping into the performing scene. And so, I mean, talk about a way to dip your toes in the water.
Well, I am super jealous because, like I told you, I'm a huge Wiz Khalifa fan. But I want to get down to your music. You have a new single, Signs Along the Road. You guys need to go check it out. It's amazing. You're still playing your dad's 1972 Gibson banjo?
It was the first banjo he ever bought. He bought it when he was a kid growing up outside of Baltimore, and it really became such a part of his identity. So it's such an honor to get to play it. And I think it still blows him away too. He thought it was this little niche. His siblings did, they all had their own instruments and artistic, inclinations. And for him, banjo was so much a part of who he became. And he still jokes about, he's like, I can't believe, because my older sister plays banjo as well. He's like, I can't believe, like, what are the chances that, some teenager walks into a music store and finds this banjo, and both of his daughters love it. And so it's been fun for him to come out to CMA Fest and get to watch me interacting with the fans with his banjo.
So speaking of CMA Fest, you won an independent CMA award for was it banjo player for your bluegrass group, the Nash Vegas Ramblers? Yes. What was it like winning a CMA award?
I'm speechless still. It's still incredible. And that was such a unique opportunity because the Nash Vegas Ramblers were already an established group when I got hired, and they really took a chance bringing me into that mix. And I'm so grateful because I feel like I grew so much as an artist under them. And especially, them being an unsigned independent group with that Independent Country Music Association Award, I think it was inspiring to think like, okay, this is the future of the industry. We can all do this on our own and push forward and push the boundaries of our genres. And so I'm still speechless to this day that I was invited to be a part of it, and really grateful to have. I look at that award when I go to my own website and I'm like, do I have that? Did that happen? Was I there? Sometimes I have to like look back holding the award, but it was incredible.
Well, congratulations again. One more thing. So Signs Along the Road. How do you come up with a title like that? Because Signs Along the Road, that can mean love, but it was a true story that I'll let you elaborate.
Yeah, basically, this song came about. I was on a road trip with my mom and my sister, and we were going to a bunch of the national parks, and we were driving through Nevada, and Nevada has Route 6, which is the loneliest highway in the country, and we were told to be careful and not to drive at night, and we just ignored that. We were like, oh, we have a minivan, we're safe, and an antelope charged our car, and we crashed at 10:30 at night, and it's just not one of our brighter moments, but we had no cell phone reception. We couldn't even get AAA on the phone. And this old couple stopped and helped us and stayed with us for about 3 hours. It was a retired truck driver and all this. It was a magical time. And one of the things he said, he was next to my sister at one point, and they were looking for a mile marker. And he said, well, do you all believe in Jesus or God? And my sister said, well, yeah. And he said, well, just remember the Lord is always with you. And that just completely took us aback. And that car crash changed, obviously, the course of the road trip. It really ended up, we kept in touch with the couple, and it sort of continued to shape the next couple years of my life. And so it kind of became this metaphor for, God's with you in the car crashes too, and we're always being guided. And I think sometimes it's hard to see, in that moment when you're stranded in the middle of nowhere and there's smoke coming out of your car, it's hard to see where the good is going to come out of that, but it always does. And then it really turned into a special song. It wasn't initially slated to be on the record. At my first year in CMA Fest, the fans came out, and I have all these Facebook messages, and people would come up after shows and be like, well, I can't wait for your new record, like, 'cause Signs Along the Road's on it, right? And I said, and now it is.
Now it is.
So not only is it on the record, it's the title track. And so I think that in itself is such a sign along the road that things are meant to turn out. So,
man, what a really cool story Really cool story. Fans, if you've not heard of Lockwood Barr, I hope you will go look her up now. Check out her new single. Where are you? Are you on iTunes?
iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, just about anywhere. And if you'd like to order a physical copy, that's on CD Baby as well. I would be happy to sign it and like write a note. I love talking to my fans and, getting to know them on a personal level. So
Thank you so much, Lockwood.